Welcome back to the channel, and if you are here for the first time, you picked a really good day to show up. Because today we are talking about something that stopped a lot of people mid-scroll. Something that came out of nowhere, hit the internet like a quiet earthquake, and has been the subject of conversations in comment sections, fan forums, group chats, and even some mainstream media outlets ever since. We are talking about a filmmaker, a seriously respected, award-recognized documentary filmmaker who sat down with one of the most iconic magazines on the planet, and when asked one specific question, gave an answer that nobody was fully prepared for. That filmmaker is Baungwin. That magazine is Vogue. And that answer was a single name, Jimin. Now stay with me here, because before we get to the comparison that everyone is talking about, we need to properly understand who Baungwin is and why this moment matters so much more than it might look on the surface. Because context is everything. If a random person on the street told you that Jimin was on the same level as Stevie Wonder, you might smile, nod, and keep walking. But when the person saying it is Baungwin, that changes the conversation entirely. Baungwin is a filmmaker whose career has been defined by a commitment to truth in storytelling. He is the kind of director who does not make glossy, surface-level content. He makes films that dig deep, that find the humanity inside extraordinary subjects, and that challenge audiences to look past what they think they already know. His documentary work has been recognized at major festivals, and his approach to filmmaking is one built on patience, observation, and a genuine curiosity about the people he captures on camera. He is not a fanboy. He is not someone who gets swept up in hype. He is a professional whose entire job is to see people clearly. And in that role, he was brought in to direct BTS, Bring the Soul, a documentary film that followed BTS during their Love Yourself World Tour and gave fans and non-fans alike a window into what life actually looks like for 7 young men carrying the weight of one of the biggest musical phenomena in modern history. This was not a promotional film. It was not a polished piece of brand content designed to make everything look perfect. It was an honest, intimate, emotionally resonant document of real human beings doing something extraordinary under extraordinary pressure. And to make that film, Baungwin had to be present. He had to observe. He had to listen. He spent real, meaningful, unfiltered time with these artists, not just on stage, but backstage, in hotel corridors, in quiet moments between the noise. He saw them when they were exhausted. He saw them when they were uncertain. He saw them when the performance was over and the real person remained. That is the kind of access that very few people in the world have ever had to BTS. And Baungwin had it. So when Vogue sat down with him and asked, and this is the question that started everything, who do you commission to perform your own personal theme song, he was not answering as a fan. He was not answering as someone trying to generate attention or appeal to a particular audience. He was answering as a filmmaker who has spent real time studying human beings and who had, in the course of his work, encountered an artist whose gifts left a lasting and undeniable impression. And that artist was Jimin. He did not hesitate. He did not give a long list of qualifications or say, well, there are several people I might consider. He said Jimin. One name. Immediately. And then he went further. He did not just name Jimin, he placed him in a specific artistic context, drawing a comparison between Jimin and Stevie Wonder. He described Jimin as being on a similar level of influence and artistic significance as one of the most important musicians of the 20th and 21st centuries combined. That statement is what set the internet on fire, and honestly, it deserves more than a hot take or a quick reaction. It deserves a real conversation. So let us have that conversation. Let us start with Stevie Wonder, because if you are going to understand why this comparison means what it means, you need to understand what Stevie Wonder represents in the world of music. Stevie Wonder did not just have a successful career. He did not just sell a lot of records or win a lot of awards, although he did both of those things in quantities that most artists could never dream of. What Stevie Wonder did was something rarer and more significant. He changed the way people understood what music could do. He was signing with Motown Records at the age of 11. By the time he was in his early 20s, he had renegotiated complete creative control over his work and used that freedom to produce a run of albums in the 1970s that many music historians consider to be among the greatest bodies of work any artist has ever produced. Talking Book. Inner Visions. Fulfillingness First Finale. Songs in the Key of Life. These records were not just popular. They were seismic. They influenced artists across every genre, from R&B and soul to rock, pop, hip-hop, jazz, and beyond. He has 25 Grammy Awards. He has a Presidential Medal of Freedom. He is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He is, by any serious measure, one of the defining musical geniuses of the modern era. But here is the thing about Stevie Wonder that goes beyond the accolades and the chart positions. What makes him genuinely great, what makes him the kind of artist that Baungwin would invoke in this context, is not just technical mastery, although his technical mastery is extraordinary. It is the fact that his music feels like it comes from somewhere essential. When Stevie Wonder sings, it does not feel like performance. It feels like transmission. Like he is taking something from the deepest part of himself and sending it directly into the deepest part of you. His voice does not just convey emotion, it generates it. It creates it in the listener from nothing. And that is an extraordinarily rare gift. Most artists, even excellent ones, perform emotion. Stevie Wonder delivers it. Now, why would a filmmaker who has worked at the highest levels of the industry, who has no particular reason to make hyperbolic comparisons, choose to describe Jimin using that specific frame of reference? Because he heard something, and he saw something, that reminded him of exactly that quality. That is what Baungwin is pointing to. Not sales figures. Not streaming numbers. Not dance moves or stage production. The thing that places Jimin in the same conversation as Stevie Wonder, in Baungwin's mind, is the quality of genuine emotional transmission. The ability to make a listener not just hear something but feel it in a way that bypasses their defenses and reaches something real. And if you have been following Jimin's career with real attention, not casually, not superficially, but with genuine focus on what he does as an artist, this will not surprise you. Because this is something that ARMY has been saying for years. The difference is that this time, it is not the fanbase saying it. It is a filmmaker from outside that world entirely, speaking in the pages of Vogue, with nothing to gain and no agenda beyond honesty. Let us talk about Jimin's voice, because it is absolutely central to understanding this. From the earliest days of BTS, Jimin's vocal style was something that stood apart. There is a quality to his voice in its upper register of fragility, a kind of beautiful instability that does not sound like any other voice in contemporary pop music. It sounds like something that has been refined not just through technical training but through genuine emotional experience. There is a rawness to it even when it is controlled. There is a trembling quality that feels less like a vocal technique and more like a window into something deeply personal. And that quality, that feeling that the voice is not just producing sound but revealing something, is exactly what separates the truly great singers from everyone else. But Jimin is not just a vocalist. He is a complete performing artist in a way that very few people in any era of music have been. He began his training as a contemporary dancer before he was a singer, and that background has fundamentally shaped the way he inhabits his music. When Jimin performs, his relationship to a song is physical as well as vocal. Every movement, every pause, every shift in his body is part of the interpretation of the music. The dance and the voice are not two separate things layered on top of each other, they are one integrated expression. And that integration is something that you feel when you watch him, even if you cannot fully articulate what you are responding to. You feel it in the way his performance stays with you afterward, in a way that performance from technically superior but emotionally less present artists often does not. His solo work has been the arena where this artistry has had the most room to breathe and develop on its own terms. Lie, from the BTS Wings album, was one of the first major moments where the world got to see what Jimin could do when the material was written specifically to fit his voice and his emotional range. The song deals with themes of deception, inner conflict, and the sensation of being trapped between who you are and who the world sees, heavy themes, rendered in a vocal performance that was genuinely haunting. Serendipity, his intro for the Love Yourself, her album, moved in a completely different direction, sensual, tender, intimate, and almost unbearably beautiful in certain moments. Filter, from Map of the Soul, 7, showed yet another dimension, playful, confident, chameleon-like in its exploration of identity and persona. And then came Face. His debut solo album, released in 2023, was a statement. Not a carefully managed commercial statement designed to maximize streaming numbers, but an artistic statement, a record that dealt directly with some of the most difficult things a young person in an extraordinarily public life can experience. Loneliness. The disconnection between public persona and private self. The struggle to find authenticity when the entire world has an opinion about who you are and who you should be. These are not lightweight themes, and Jimin did not treat them lightly. He made music that was genuinely vulnerable, genuinely brave, and genuinely good. The album was received critically as a serious artistic achievement, not just a successful idol solo project, and that distinction matters enormously. Because here is what the best artists in history have always done: they have used their platform not to project an image but to tell the truth. Stevie Wonder did it in the 1970s, making records about injustice and spirituality and the complexity of love when other artists were playing it safe. He used his music to say things that mattered, to document the human experience with honesty and care. And in his own way, in his own time and context, Jimin is doing the same thing. He is not making music designed to make people comfortable. He is making music designed to make people feel. And those are very different goals, and the second one is much harder to achieve. Now let us talk about something that often gets overlooked in these conversations: the quality of presence. Not stage presence in the superficial sense of being charismatic or visually striking, although Jimin certainly has both of those things. I mean presence in the deeper sense, the sense that when this person is in front of you, whether on stage or in a documentary, in a music video or in a live performance, there is something happening that goes beyond technique. There is an aliveness, a quality of genuine connection, that makes you feel like you are witnessing something real rather than watching something manufactured. Baungwin saw that presence at close range over an extended period of time. He watched Jimin prepare for performances, recover from performances, navigate the emotional and physical demands of a global tour, and show up night after night and give everything he had to audiences who were depending on him. And what he took away from all of that observation was a deep and lasting conviction that what he was witnessing in Jimin was not just talent in the conventional sense. It was artistry in the rarest and most significant sense of that word. The kind of artistry that, when he was asked to name the one person he would trust with the soundtrack of his own life, made the answer not just easy but obvious. Is the comparison to Stevie Wonder a definitive, unambiguous, objective truth? No comparison between two artists of different eras and different musical contexts ever is. That is not the point. The point is what the comparison communicates: that the person making it, a thoughtful and experienced creative professional with no stake in the K-pop industry, saw something in Jimin that belongs to the same category of rare human gift that Stevie Wonder embodies. That is not nothing. That is actually quite a lot. For those outside the ARMY fandom who might still be skeptical, the invitation here is simple: listen. Not to the hype. Not to the fan discourse. Not to the chart positions or the streaming numbers or the cultural commentary. Just listen to the music. Listen to Lie. Listen to Serendipity. Listen to Set Me Free PT2 from the Face album. Listen to Like Crazy. Let the voice and the artistry make their own case. Because they will. And if you find yourself feeling something unexpected, something that bypasses your defenses and reaches somewhere real, that is exactly what Baungwin was talking about. That is exactly what Stevie Wonder has been doing for 60 years. And it is exactly what the greatest artists in human history have always done. The world of music is genuinely vast and genuinely full of remarkable people. But the number of artists who possess the specific quality that we are talking about here, the ability to take their own inner world and transform it into something that speaks universally, that crosses every language and cultural barrier and finds the places inside a listener that are most human, that number is very, very small. Stevie Wonder is in that group. And according to one filmmaker who has seen Jimin work up close, at his most raw and his most real, so is he. That is the story. That is the fact behind the headline. And it is a much bigger story than a clickbait comparison between two famous names. It is a story about what art is actually for, about what genuine talent looks like when you strip away all the noise and the image and the marketing, and about the rare and precious thing that happens when a human being uses music not to perform but to tell the truth. Thank you so much for watching. If this gave you something to think about or something to feel, please leave a comment below. I would genuinely love to know your thoughts on this. And if you have not already subscribed, do it now so you do not miss what is coming next. There is always more music to explore and always more truth worth finding. See you in the next one.